Good evening, voters. My name is Marla Zwinky, and I am the Vice President of the League of Women Voters of Geauga. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's Candidate Forum. This gathering marks the first of 4 forums our volunteer organization will hold throughout the county. And by the time we're done making the rounds, the Cleveland Guardians should be deep into the American League Division Series. Was anyone at the game last night? It was pretty incredible. What is also incredible is the fact that we have 100% participation from the candidates tonight across 4 contested races. Yes, wonderful round of applause. Thank you, candidates. League candidate forums provide a unique opportunity for you to shake hands with candidates, for you to ask questions, and most importantly, to hear their perspective firsthand. By bringing everyone together in one space, under the nonpartisan umbrella with which we do our work, the League of Women Voters aims to foster open dialogue and informed decision-making. At this time, I invite you to please rise if you are able and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a number of organizations and people to thank for their support in our efforts this election season. First, Kenston Local Schools and Dr. Willingham. Thank you for hosting us this evening and for recording our event. We appreciate you. The Chagrin Valley Times and the Geauga Times Courier generously printed and distributed our voter guide. This is what it looks like. We have copies out in the lobby. These are hot off the press, and they're available tonight. We actually had a volunteer drive all the way to Sandusky yesterday just to get these here for you tonight. They actually don't drop until tomorrow, so make sure that you take one before you leave. They have all of the information as submitted by the candidates, and they're a wonderful resource to just carry in your bag and look at before you vote. The Geauga County Public Library for making our voter guide available in all of their branches. And of course, thank you to the candidates and issue spokespeople who are participating. There are 103 candidates running in races across Geauga this election cycle. Thank you for your willingness to stand up and serve the community. And finally, our league volunteers. It takes a dedicated team to plan, organize, and execute our election season activities. These aren't paid roles. Our volunteers consistently show up because they believe in the mission of empowering voters and defending democracy. If you're encouraged by our efforts, think about joining us. The League is nonpartisan, and contrary to popular belief, we do have a fair amount of men who are members. Or if not, maybe just make a donation. All right. The recording of this forum is going to be happening, and we are going to be recording our other forums at Cardinal, Chardon, and West Geauga. So if you have friends or family members in those areas, please encourage them to come or watch the recordings. We make these available on our League of Women Voters YouTube channel, and typically our forums get hundreds and hundreds of views prior to the November 4th election. Here is a brief rundown of important dates that you need to be aware of. October 6th is the voter registration deadline. So if anyone here is going to be a new voter or has not registered yet, you need to make sure that you do that prior to October 6th or by October 6th. Then we have early in-person voting. That begins October 7th and continues through November 2nd. The hours vary, so check the County Board of Elections website for more information. If you are voting by mail, absentee ballots must be postmarked by October 28th to be counted in the final tally. And voting at the polls on Election Day is on November 4th from the hours of 6:30 in the morning until 7:30 at night. A quick reminder, the Geauga County Board of Elections has moved. So if you're not aware of that, they have moved. All early in-person voting will be held at their new location at the Geauga County Office Building located on Ravenwood Drive. And with that, I'd like to introduce two very dedicated, important colleagues of mine, Madeline Horvath and Donna Matzik, who are our voter service co-chairs. They're going to be explaining the format of tonight's candidate forum. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy tonight's event.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this forum. I'm Donna Matzik.
I'm Madeline Horvath.
And we are thrilled to be part of an organization that empowers voters and defends democracy.
Democracy works best when we have engaged and informed citizens and caring and accountable leaders. This forum tonight contributes to both of those. And now
A few ground rules for tonight.
candidates, your role. Present your qualifications and platform to the community. Focus on yourself, your concerns, and your ideas to serve constituents. Discussions should pertain to the office you're seeking. Policy differences may be discussed, but should be framed as I statements. Moderator has complete discretion to redirect or end candidate remarks.
Audience, your role. Focus your questions on community issues or topics that pertain directly to the office or the issue. Listen to each candidate's response. Refrain from commenting during the presentations, and kindly hold all applause until after the completion of the race or the issue. Again, we have discretion to address any disruptive behavior.
Questions. Questions are submitted by the public in writing, online, ahead of this forum, or by note card this evening up until the start of each race. Do not hold your questions. Question runners are around there. You can wave and see them, so if you need them, they're there. Questions are reviewed by our trained panel to ensure clarity and lack of personal bias, then organized and provided to the monitor. Please understand that we will try to get to all the questions, but due to time constraints and possible format constraints, we may not get to all of them.
And what is the format? We will have the groups of candidates for each race. So all trustees will come up, and they'll take their places when invited by the moderator. Then each candidate will be given 3 minutes to present themselves. They will come up here to the podium, and they will share their platform and the information with the audience from the podium. They'll return to their seat. All candidates have that 3 minutes. At the end of that time, then the questions will be submitted, and during this time, they will have a question and a 1-minute answer period on the submitted questions. Spokespeople, on the other hand, for issues, they'll have 1.5 minutes to present their issue.
The empty chair policy. Our local races are subject to our LWVG empty chair policy, which means all contested races will be presented as long as at least one candidate is present.
Lastly, a reminder, we do not distinguish between incumbents and challengers. They are permitted to talk about that, but we do not distinguish. And lastly, we do not allow proxies or stand-ins. The candidates themselves have to be there to represent themselves.
After the forum, you are invited to continue and ask any questions you might have to the candidates out in the lobby adjacent to here. Then you may also pick up candidate campaign materials. For more information, you can go to Vote411 and you can see the address there, www.vote411.org. And now we want to introduce our moderator for tonight, Melanie Scanlon.
Okay, I'm excited to be here with you today. Thank you, candidates, for your participation. We are going to get started. This is tonight's schedule of events. We have the Geauga County Park District Levy, the Geauga County Job and Family Services Levy, the Auburn Township Trustees Race, the levy for Auburn Township Streets, Roads, Bridges Renewal, the South Russell Village Council Race, the Kenston Local Board of Education Race, the Bainbridge Township Streets, Roads, and Bridges Renewal Levy, and the Bainbridge Township Trustee Race. So, a great stack of events and folks that we're going to hear from. So the first issue that we are talking about today is the levy for the Geauga County Park District. It's a tax levy at 1.2 mils. It's for preserving and protecting park land. It collects $3,384,359 annually, amounting to $23 per each $100,000. It's 20 years commencing in 2026, first due in 2027, and a renewal of 0.7 mil and an increase of 0.5. I don't believe we have anyone from the Park District here, do we? Okay. Next is the Geauga County Job and Family Services Tax Levy. It's a 0.7 mil renewal for children's services. It'll collect $2,331,346 annually, amounting to $15 for each $100,000. It's 5 years, starting in 2026, first due in 2027. And I believe Gina Schultz is here from Job and Family Services to talk about the levy. Thanks, Gina. With loud shoes, so I apologize.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight to talk about the Geauga County Children's Services Levy, which is issue 1. My name is Gina Schultz. I am the Social Services Director at Geauga County Job and Family Services. Our levy is a 0.7 mil renewal, and it's a qualified levy. Our current levy, our current 0.7 mil Children's Services Levy, represents less than 5% of the current countywide levies that impact Geauga County taxpayers. In 2024, we investigated 329 referrals of abuse, neglect, and dependency involving over 600 children. So far, in 2025, up until the end of August, we've investigated 257 cases. We provide protective services countywide 24 hours a day, 364 days a year, and we fund the Geauga County's only dedicated child sex abuse investigator. We provided supportive services to the families of over 58 adopted children in 2024, and we provide funding for and collaborate with numerous Geauga County agencies that provide preventative services to children and families. Our funds can only be spent on child protective services, child abuse and neglect prevention, and foster and adoptive services. While our children in custody numbers have remained manageable, the cost of residential treatment is at a record high. In 2024, our placement cost for children in custody has been over $1 million, and so far in 2025, it's at $700,000. We haven't asked for new money in over a decade, and I'm here today to just ask for your support and your continued support in voting yes on issue 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. We did get a question from the audience. So, this levy reflects 2.3 mil. My question is, what is the total annual budget of Geauga County JFS, and what portion is covered by the levy, and what are other revenue sources?
Okay, so I do not have the actual number of the total annual budget. What I can tell you is that we have been incredibly blessed to have our levy, and the levy funds the majority of what we do. We get some federal money, we get state money, but the county money that we receive is what allows us to do so many of the things that we do for our county. We have had different people from the state come in to monitor our cases, to monitor the services that we do, and they constantly praise us for the amount that we do to support the families that we work with. It's very difficult for families to be involved with children's services, And so the money that we receive from the taxpayers, we're incredibly responsible with it, and we use it to give back to those families. And again, we have been praised over and over for the services that we provide. So I'm sorry I didn't answer it totally, but hopefully that helped you.
And then just the second question, are other sources of revenue at risk due to budget cuts at the state and federal level?
So I'm only going to speak for children's services because that's what the levy supports, not other parts of Geauga County Job and Family Services. So right now, the only thing that I've heard of that has been in jeopardy of being cut is some funding that we use for children that are in our custody that are 14 and older, that we count like as our independent living children. And so there's some cuts to money for that, but we are able to use the Children's Services Levy to help support that population as well. So although we may be getting a cut from the state with that, we are going to still be able to support those children that we serve.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to welcome to the stage our candidates for the Auburn Township Trustee race. This election, you'll be choosing two. Your candidates are Riley Davis, Eugene McCune, and Mike Troy. And yeah, Mr. Davis, if you just want to come right up here, we'll start with you. I do want to let all the candidates know that Chris, who is right there in the front, has our timer. And so she'll be timing you when it gets to red. I'll kind of come up and make it obvious that your time is close to being over. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Hi, everybody. My name is Riley Davis, and I have some tough acts to follow. I've never done this before, so stick with me here. I have lived in Auburn for 10 years. I live on a 40-acre farm, and I'm a small business owner. I have invented truck and agriculture parts over the years, so that's my primary job. I've also been a realtor and a notary for 18 years, so I do a lot of real estate locally in Geauga. And I was a volunteer EMT in Washington, D.C. and in Hudson, Ohio. And I've been on the men's basketball league here in Kenston for about 6 or 7 years now. So that's a little bit about me. But why I'm here tonight? I'm here because I'm thinking about the future of Auburn. I was told nobody really cares about local government on a small scale. I already knew this wasn't true. I've been soliciting neighbors and asking for more information for about a year now. And I've really enjoyed making this effort to get to know the neighbors. I realize people do want to be in the know, but it has to be convenient for them. There are amazing tools that we can integrate into our local government, and we all already use and rely on them every day. And I've done the homework, and I want to get us, the residents, what we need to prosper, so we can work on tomorrow, and then most importantly, our future. So that's why I'm here. And thank you for all the hard work. I've been keeping track on Facebook, obviously. It's been great. And thank you all for showing up on this rainy night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Timer, before you start, let me get a second to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. Thank you for Kenston for hosting this event. My wife and I are graduates of Kenston, class of 71, and we are 3 generations in this school. And also thank you to all of you for being here and sharing in your communities. My name is Gene McCune. I've been a trustee for 16 years. What are my qualifications? I ran and served from 1994 to 2005 in my first go-around. In that time, I had the opportunity to serve with the most influential trustee in the history of Auburn Township, in John Everly. Together in those first terms, we did a couple things. We sat down, we worked nights, we worked weekends, and we invented and wrote down the first comprehensive road plan in the history of Auburn Township, which is still used today and copied by other townships. The second thing we did, we knew that Bainbridge Township, our good friends, were burdening all the trouble of supplying fields and practice fields and ball fields for our children that we all shared at Kenston School. We went out and we diligently worked for a field to find a place for a park for Auburn Township. John joined the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. We worked with them. We got a plan together. And when the Cathan Farm came up for sale, I sat down with Mr. and Mrs. Cathan. I explained to them and showed them that financially they'd be much better off to work with us in the Land Conservancy than they were with a developer. But because they were good people, they had already made a commitment with the developer, and so we went on to keep looking. As God would have it, that real estate dealer backed out of that deal, and the rest is history. We now have a beautiful park. We have ball fields that our children and your children and grandchildren get to use. And let me just say this right off the bat. That park does not happen without John Eberly. When I came on the board this second time, the first thing I did was made a motion to change the name of the park to the John Eberly Community Park. It was denied by this current board. That was a mistake. The second thing I found out is our finances were in a complete terrible situation. Unfortunately, it ended tragically, but today Auburn Township is on strong footing, and that's because of our fiscal officer, Dan Matsko. Take a bow, Dan. Dan has done a tremendous job to bring us back to where we should be. And so I'm asking for your vote for this next time around. This will be my last go-around. Help me keep Auburn moving in the right direction, and help me get the name of that park changed to the John Eberly Community Park. It should have been done 4 years ago, and it's a travesty that it wasn't. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. McHugh. Mr. Troyan. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Mike Troyan. I'm Auburn Township trustee. My educational background is I have a Bachelor of Science in Educational Technology from the University of Akron and a Juris Doctorate degree from Cleveland Marshall College of Law. I currently am a vice president and co-owner of a company in Bedford Heights, an electronics firm. I've been with them for 46 years. I have been married to my beautiful wife Jody now for 42 years. I have 4 children, Jennifer, Jessica, Melissa, and Allison, all of which graduated from Kenston High School. I have 10 grandchildren. 1 graduated from Kenston, 2 more are currently in the high school. So when I first came here, which is, it's 34 years now, I was kind of a city slicker. But I worked with the township now for this is my 29th year. I've been on zoning for 9 years, 20 years as trustee. And after probably somewhere about the middle of it, some of the people started referring to me as one of the good old boys. I wear that as a badge of honor, to be accepted by the people who've lived here all their life and to be one of the displaced city guys that bought the swampland out here. It was quite an honor. My platform is to keep Auburn, Auburn. It's not easy to do. There's constant change going on. And one of the things that's really been a factor lately is whenever a house goes up for sale, you've got a Airbnb person trying to buy it. Now this is becoming problematic in our developments. We've had, as a matter of fact, it was John Eberly Street. Somebody was trying to run their house, and they had 200 people at a wedding. And this isn't a subdivision. This isn't right. So, we're fighting this. This has been an ongoing battle now for 2 or 3 years. And it's just becoming a real problem with, like I said, the subdivisions. Another issue that's coming up, and and this is something I've always said about a township trustee, if you're doing your job right, after 4 years, half the people are going to like you and half the people are going to hate you. Because whatever issues come up, there's always two people or two groups that are on opposite sides of it. And though they make good arguments, us as trustees, as a team, not as individuals, have to make decisions on these. I'm out of here.
You're out of here.
No. Thank you for your time.
It goes fast, doesn't it?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad we had
That's right. But don't worry, more fun is ahead because we have questions from the audience. So, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Davis, if you don't mind. The first question submitted is, what is your opinion on the proposed auto service station and restaurant near 44 and 422?
As a realtor, I respect people's property rights. It is a very tricky subject, and I was at the zoning meetings and saw hundreds of residents being very passionate about everything. My personal thoughts, I don't have all the details, but I do know that we are being taken to a lawsuit. As a new guy here, I'm wondering how could we have been proactive instead of reactive and avoided another lawsuit? I wouldn't say they're unavoidable. I think on the front end, there's a lot of things that probably could have been discussed and displayed and explained from a zoning perspective, but we're past that now. And I have door knocked about 75 residents over the last year so far, and it comes up a lot, along with a lot of other issues. And they're split on whether we want one or not.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
A quick minute.
Mr. McCoon, same question to you. What are your thoughts on the proposed auto service station and restaurant near 44 and 422?
First of all, it's not a restaurant and a service station, it's a truck stop. I know a truck stop in plants, when I see them, it's a truck stop. Alton Township does not need a truck stop. There's a truck stop at the corner of 82 and 44 in Manway. We don't need it. We didn't work hard on our zoning to have a truck stop down there. We want it developed, but not that way. Our zoning is going to prevail, and we are going to win that lawsuit, and there will not be a truck stop down there.
Thank you, Mr. McCoon. Mr. Troy.
I have to concur with Mr. McCune. Again, when we first looked at this, they gave us the layout of the plans. Yeah, it's not a truck stop, it's just a gas station. So I'm looking at them and saying, okay, there's 17 parking spots for trucks. And then there was a section in the back, 42 more parking spots for semis for future. Okay? Basically, we're running out of time. We know that yeah, it's nobody wants it. I haven't had a single person say that the truck stop would be a good, and we have no qualms at all. If you want to put a restaurant there, that would be fine. If you want to have a gas station, that would be fine. But we can't have a truck stop. It just brings in too much problems, and to have idling trucks with residential areas so close, not acceptable.
Thank you. Next question, and Mr. McCoon, I'm going to start with you on this one. Do you support getting high-speed fiber optic internet in Auburn to increase internet speed?
Would I like to see high? Absolutely. And as we speak, they were actually running it down one road in Auburn Township today. So I think high fiber optic is on the way to Auburn, and we should have it shortly. Unfortunately, some of the township, especially where Mr. Cavanaugh lives on the far eastern part, they don't even have cable yet. You know, I always tell the story as a trustee, I could write a book on people that moved to Auburn, and I've had people build $1 million homes and call me and tell me their cable doesn't work, and I said, you don't have cable. And they say, well, the real estate person told me that the house was cable ready. Well, the house was cable ready, but the township isn't. I've also had people call me and say they need to speak to someone from the water department. We don't have a water department. And I said, we have to have a water department, my water doesn't work. I said, you have a well. It's dilutes. Where is it? Well, it's somewhere in your yard. And the next question I get is, when is garbage pickup day? Whenever you hire someone to come and get it, that's your garbage pickup day. So, living in a township is a little different than living in Solon.
Thank you, Mr. McCune. Mr. Troy, to you. Do you support getting high-speed fiber optic in Auburn to increase internet speed?
Okay, and just to continue with Mr. McHugh's statement before I go on with my own, the last thing they would say to you then is when you don't give them the answer they want, they'd like to speak to the mayor. But, yeah, of course, I'm all for the high-speed internet. But here's a side note to that. I live in a development. And they've already run the fiber optic down Taylor May, and the fiber optic's going down one. And then on my street, we've got underground wiring and just telephone wiring, so they can't afford to run fiber optic house to house. So even though I've got this lightning fast internet going down the main roads, we're basically hooked up with an extension cord, and it's like, here you go, here's what you get. And so I think the max speed we can get on my street is like 50 gig. And so, but yeah, it's definitely, the technology will upgrade a little bit to the rest of us, but yeah, we've got to have the high-speed internet. It's part of the world.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
So this issue came up actually at the last trustee meeting. Somebody asked what was going on Stafford Road, seeing lines getting ran. I took the initiative. I started reading articles. I reached out to Spectrum, who's got the QR code you can scan with your phone. Unhelpful. But there's a company called Chagrin Valley Gig. They are, Don Fellows is the vice president. I spoke with him today, actually. He is very excited he put on a presentation for Auburn right away. He already has Hunting Valley, Newberry, they're pulling lines in Newberry. The way it works is overhead or underground, Evergreen owns the fiber, not Spectrum, Optimum, Suddenlink, any of those people. And furthermore, they lease off that line and they pull to give reliable fiber to people right away. They'll give you pricing, you could call them tomorrow, or they'll come put on a presentation. So I solicited feedback, I took the initiative, and actually got real information about fiber, because people had already been asking me, hey, what's going on with it? I don't know, I'll find out. So I did.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Troy, I'm going to start with you on this one. What is your position on property tax reform? In the event property taxes are reduced or eliminated, what are your plans for alternate sources of revenue?
Repeat the question?
Yep, no problem.
Hearing aid.
No problem at all. What is your position on property tax reform? In the event property taxes are reduced or eliminated, what are your plans for alternate sources of revenue?
Well, property taxes, I mean, they're going to continue to go up. I think we're safe for a few years. Alternate sources of revenue, the only thing that we have for operations is, our levies. And to, if anything, try to reduce costs, but I don't see that happening. It's, things that keep getting more expensive. Our fire department now, when I started, it was basically a half dozen guys, and they were coming from home, and we had an incomplete facility. Now we have 4 people 24/7. So we have a budget of roughly $1 million just for covering salaries, and these men do not have, they're part-time. They don't have health benefits or anything else. So, alternate sources of income, all we've got is taxes.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, same question. What is your position on property tax reform? In the event property taxes are reduced or eliminated, what would be your plans for alternate sources of revenue?
There are some very bright people that have been working on this for a while. In case it does make it on the 26th ballot, it would rock Ohio, obviously, if they were abolished. So I've been following a gentleman named John Plecknick. He's a commissioner in Lake County. Real bright guy. He's done a lot of work on this. Basically, my notes here, my thought is if you give with one hand, you're going to take with the other. So we would have to really levy county taxes or some sort of income tax or a JED system just to make up some like Bainbridge and Twinsburg Township, places like that have implemented. And none of these choices would be easy. But yeah, as Mr. Troy mentioned, our fire budget actually is projected at $1.5 million, and about 3/4 of that is personnel costs. So if we want to offer benefits, hire additional people, that's something else we're going to look at very shortly, or 2026 it'll show up as a levy.
Thank you. Mr. McCune.
President James Madison said many, many years ago, taxation is the luxury we pay for having a civil society. Without taxation, you don't have safe streets, you don't have good schools, you don't have a fire department, you don't have safety services. I understand it's rough, maybe there's some reform that needs to be made, that's way above my pay grade. But I will tell you this, it's a necessity.
Thank you. Final question, and Mr. Davis, I'm going to start with you. What is the main issue facing Auburn Township during the next 4 years?
I believe we will continue to grow. We are a great township. I plan on staying here forever. I have a 3-year-old son I plan on raising. Some of the immediate issues, families coming in, they're relying on technology. I think there's a lot of different things we can utilize. I mentioned earlier things we use every day. You've got Facebook, you've got YouTube. The people aren't going to get involved unless they know what's going on. I think a big roadblock, a simple one, would just be posting an agenda for our monthly meetings. You have to show up if you want to know what's going on, which never made a lot of sense to me when I started going to meetings, because there's a lot of people at 7 o'clock that have a lot of obligations, and if you're going to ask them to skip those obligations, they should know from email chain, Facebook, any of the media methods we have, what is going to be spoke about, so they can make that decision and show up and participate in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. McCune, to you, what is the biggest issue facing Auburn Township?
I think Mr. Troy hit on it a little bit in his comments. Short-term leasing of homes in neighborhoods. There's a push in Columbus by some people to abolish township zoning. That's why they're looking at it. You can't have a commercial business in a residential neighborhood. It doesn't make sense, and we will fight that. We've already had 2 lawsuits with people who have tried to do that. We have won both those lawsuits. The other thing is sometimes people come into townships and think, well, I'll just build what I want and I'll worry about the consequences later. We don't need that, and Auburn Township will fight that. We have strong zoning, and we're going to protect it, and we're going to support it. Again, we mentioned the truck stop down at 44. These people have big money. They're going to try to roll us with it, but we're going to fight it, and we're going to win. So those are the issues. The zoning issues are going to be the biggest issues in township government, because there's a push in Columbus to get rid of us, and that's going to be tough to fight.
Thank you. Mr. Troy, to you.
Well, one thing, we have been very proactive over the years in trying to get ahead of problems that we have in zoning. One big one that came up is all the area around the Dew Reservoir was actually, we had it as an R1 district. So homes could actually be built on all the property. And we saw that could be problematic, so we turned all of that area into what we called open free space. So nothing could ever be built around the Dew. And I still remember when the attorney came in from the city of Akron who owned the property, and their revenues that came off that property were based on its residential rating. And their lawyers came in and sat down and you can't do that. We told them, we already did. At that time they sat down and shut up and kept going. So we can be proactive.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming today, for answering questions from the audience. Auburn residents, you're voting for number 2 of these 3 candidates, Mr. Rember. Thank you. While they're exiting the stage, I'm going to talk about. Go ahead. You can exit the stage.
We're done?
Yep, you're
Thank
done.
You sure?
Yep. Out of the hot seats. Do I look like someone that would yell? Okay, so while they're exiting, I want to talk to you about the Auburn Township Tax Levy. It's a 1 mil renewal for streets, roads, and bridges, collecting $277,573 annually, amounting to $20 for each $100,000. 5 years commencing in 2026 and first due in 2027. And we have PJ Kavanaugh here to talk to us about the levy. Thank you, PJ.
Okay, I thank the League of Women Voters for having us again. This is a great opportunity to come talk about what we do in Auburn. I'm here to ask for resident support for a 1 mil renewal road levy. Biggest thing to know is this does not represent any kind of tax increase. This will bring in approximately $277,000, which amounts to approximately a fifth of our road improvement budget. Homeowner can expect to pay $20.42 per 100,000 valuation annually. Our department operates on approximately a $1.5 million budget. We do have access and we pursue aggressively outside funding. We brought in well over $2 million a year in additional funding from OPWC over the life of issue 2 money. You've seen it on the length of Taylor May was paved with that. So Stafford Road was the most recent project. We also have done Quinn, Bartholomew. We have applications in for Crackle, a joint application with Manville Township. This money is key to have our portion to get those outside grants. Our budget goes 50 to 65% directly to road improvements. The rest of the balance of that goes to operating the department. We have 5 employees. We operate a tight system there. We are in a hiring process now. We have 2 scheduled retirements, and we're actively hiring right now, along with scheduled equipment upgrades.
We have a question.
Oh, you do?
We
Okay.
do. So what projects will not be funded if the levy doesn't pass?
Well, that's a good question. Next year's projects are going to lean heavy towards some subdivisions. Derbyshire is on the list and we've sent out for estimates on these projects already. Of course, we'd like to say we keep our maintenance projects going, the crack seal, patching, obviously snow removal, but this will affect should this lose, it would affect our overall $1 million, essentially, every year for road improvements, paving, what goes in front of your house. This would take about a 20% bite out of that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. And while Mr. Kavanaugh is exiting the stage, I'd like to welcome the candidates for the South Russell Village Council. South Russell residents will be choosing 4 out of these 6 candidates. We have Misha Alexander, Christopher Bell, Ruth Kavanaugh, Dennis Galicki, Mark Porter, and Mary Renzel. Ms. Alexander, I'll invite you to be our first guest at the podium.
Good evening. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for hosting this event, and thank you everyone attending tonight. My name is Misha Alexander, and I'm running for South Russell Village Council because we can have fiscal responsibility while being innovative in enhancing safety, wellness, and connectivity. We can act to address issues with immediacy while also strategically planning for the short and long term. I believe I can contribute towards these goals. I moved to South Russell in 2021 with my husband of 16 years, our son, and the 4 cats that we adopted during the pandemic. I'm proud to call South Russell home and grateful my son has the privilege to attend Chagrin Falls schools. I grew up in Northfield, Vermont, roughly the size of South Russell, graduated from Northfield High School and attended Castleton State College. I've spent 15 years working in banking, and for the last 7 years I've worked as a loss mitigation underwriting specialist, helping homeowners keep their homes during financial hardship. I'm not afraid of hard work, and I know it can take time to do the right thing, which sometimes means innovating and negotiating new and better solutions. After work, I enjoy taking long walks, but in South Russell, there's not a safe path to walk or bike. The Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee was formed to propose a plan to council for a path and crosswalks using state grant funding. I joined the committee to support this project, and I know that we can build a safe path to connect 50% of South Russell and add much-needed crosswalks across from the school and at the intersection of Bell and 306. Residents of all ages and abilities deserve to feel safe walking and biking down the street, especially kids in school zones. If elected to council this November, it would be my honor to serve the people of South Russell. In the next 4 years, I would prioritize continuing work to build a path and crosswalks as part of greater safety initiatives to include resiliency planning to enhance our financial and environmental preparedness. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Buck.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us tonight. It's nice having a forum for civil political discussion. Good evening. My name is Chris Bell. A little bit about me. I'm a native of the Chagrin Valley, and after moving home and settling in South Russell with my wife and kids 11 years ago, I quickly began serving my community by coaching youth sports. I later served as the president of the 105 Home Kensington Green Homeowners Association and spent time serving on the South Russell Board of Zoning Appeals. In 2021, I was humbled to be elected to council by the residents of South Russell. Over the past 4 years, I've served on and chaired the Streets, Building, Safety, and Human Resources Committees. In the last year, I've been a council representative for those on the Mayor's Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport Committee. Professionally, I'm a member of a leadership team at a mid-sized Cleveland-based manufacturing company. My council journey started 5 years ago when my basement flooded twice in 2 months. Cleanup once was frustrating. Cleanup a second time was demoralizing. Knowing that stormwater was a growing issue in South Russell, I decided to run for village council, and I hope to be part of the solution so others wouldn't have to live with the stress that I went through. Fast forward to 2025, I am proud to have been part of a council that has made significant strides in stormwater mitigation. Continuing to develop solutions to flooding issues remains a top issue in South Russell. We need to continue to explore stormwater management opportunities and implement realistic solutions. The second issue of importance in South Russell is pedestrian safety. Distracted drivers, coupled with the increase in pedestrian activity, is inviting tragedy. Now is the time to build pedestrian infrastructure on our most traveled roads, providing our children and active adults a safe alternative. In addition to pedestrian safety, overall community safety is another top issue. This includes managing the relationships with the fire, EMS, and dispatch services, petitioning the state to reduce the speed limit on Chillicothe Road, and supporting the police department's safety efforts and community programming. Our residents' safety is paramount, and I intend to continue supporting initiatives that ensure it. The final top issue in South Russell is fiscal oversight. In addition to being fiscally prudent, council must ensure that the village is prepared for the unexpected loss of revenues due to changes in Ohio property tax laws, and be prepared for reduced income tax caused by economic downturn. Listen, South Russell is a great place to live and raise a child, but it's important to me that council work to maintain the characteristics of the village while also evolving with the desires of the electorate. I look forward to having the opportunity to support my community through continued service as a councilperson, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bowden.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, League. I have been on council for a combined 10 years. not altogether, kind of like Gene McCune, some in the 90s, and then I ran again 4 years ago. The things that I have been part of in this last term has been part of updating our employee handbook manual, which took months to get done, and I did that with the hard work of fellow councilperson Chris Berger. We're quite proud of that, and we use it as the Bible, of course, of the village. I have been very active in the parks and properties, and that has been a joyous thing to do. South Russell turned 100 years old in 2023, and we also look forward to, we did a celebration then, we look forward to the 250th of our great nation coming up this coming year, as I am sure most everyone here does that. We have heard about the pedestrian path that has been proposed, and we have some money set aside for that, and I'm for it. I do think we're safe, and we have safe places to walk, and that would include our park. That was Muggleton property. It was a Muggleton farm, just like the Cathans had the farm in Auburn. The farm was turned into South Russell Park. It connects, if you're not aware of this, it connects from Bell Road all the way through to Washington Street. So there are some good places to walk. People seem to want to be on Bell Road and go, and there's ways to do that. And I've seen where it works both ways, either with the road or as a separate path. If you're in front of Austin Powder in Glen Willow, you can see the mix of that. So there's multiple solutions you can have for that. I just feel very grateful to still be a part of Paw Paw Lake where I grew up. I want to give one last shout out to he who can't hear, to my grandfather and to my parents for being there. And my grandfather was the first clerk of the village in 1921. They started in 21, they became a village in 23. And I think notable is there was no electricity until 1927. So when they met, they usually met in Mayor Albert Warren's home. And so they had lamplight and they had wood stove going. What wonderful people. We're pretty spoiled. And I'm just grateful to still be a part of it. I thank you and I ask for your vote, and I hope to continue and be able to do work for South Russell. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kavanaugh. Mr. Glick.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming tonight to be engaged and interested in your local government. I don't have a prepared speech, so I'm going to talk in bullet points, so please excuse me. But I'm seeking re-election to Village Council to continue my service to the community. Public service has been very important within our family. Prior to returning to Ohio after military service, I served as a naval officer for 32 years in uniform. And my wife is a former federal agent in the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. And I have a daughter who serves as a firefighter paramedic on 2 local communities, one full-time and one part-time. 4 years ago, I approached this assemblage and said, my platform can be summed up in 2 words, and that's good government. And with a little bit of explanation, I'll elaborate a little bit on that. You know, I totally support transparency in government without hidden agendas, government that is fiscally responsible and fully accountable to the people that it represents. A government that provides outstanding value for your tax dollar and doesn't waste funds frivolously. Some of the things that I'd like to emphasize, if I happen to be fortunate enough to be re-elected, is my platform would include maintaining the semi-rural nature of South Russell, provide safe and secure community through support of our village police force and the Chagrin Valley Fire Department, provide the highest level of essential services to residents, including well-maintained streets, expand some of the community services that we currently have, like trash days and burn days or shred days, to include perhaps taking care of live Christmas trees at the end of the season, curbside pickup of leaves, expanding the corner village property, the campus, to include bands or food trucks. I support continued support of community trails and parks. I promote fiscal responsibility and accountability, and I'd like to promote government integrity and transparency. So that in a nutshell is my platform. I would like to ask you for your vote come election day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkie. Mr. Porter.
Good evening, folks. My name is Mark Porter, and I'm running for re-election to the South Russell Village Council. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for allowing this opportunity, for those of you who came tonight to see it. And for those who will see it, I suppose, on YouTube or on the website that the League of Women Voters provides. I'm running for re-election because there's unfinished business. I've been on council for 19 years now, and I've seen the progress we've made in a lot of areas. The Muggleton Farm back in 2006-07 became a reality while I was on council. And from that time on, the village has done a lot of great things for the residents and should continue to do so. Most importantly, lately, has been stormwater, controlling flooding in the village through pretty darn expensive projects. One thing I learned in the last 5-10 years for these stormwater projects, there's no cheap solutions. There's no easy fix. The South Russell Village Council, I was chairman of the Public Utilities Committee, which was instrumental in making the central retention basin right next to Village Hall a reality. And that helped control a lot of the flooding that used to happen on the southwest corner of the village, quadrant of the village. And the Phase 1 Manor project came after that. And that was crucially important for controlling floods that were on the northwest side of the village. And there's more work to be done. Chelsea Court, though, was our first big project back in 2006 or 7, and that was a $500,000 project. The central retention basin was $400,000. Manor Brook was about the same, and we did get grants to help defray these things, but stormwater is my priority and has been for the last 5 or 10 years, and I would like to continue it. Fairview needs help, and Hazelwood needs help, and Maple Springs needs help, because the older the village is, the more the infrastructure needs repair. And that's true of not only stormwater, but it's also true of roads and bridges. And that's a big priority for me because while I was serving on the Streets Committee and as a council person, paving Bell Road West was $1 million project. Bell Road East is $1 million project, and it goes from there. So every single project that we do is funded by the taxpayers and partially done or defrayed by grants. We can't get enough grants, we can't live for free, sorry, that's just not the way it works. But we've been very aggressive over the last several years to do that. We will continue to do that. As far as the pedestrian bike path, right now the plan is for a 5-foot path that crisscrosses Bell Road. And it's an $800,000 grant from NOACA, thank you NOACA, but it's a reimbursement grant, meaning we pay money, they give it back to us, but not the full cost. It's going to cost taxpayers, sorry, I'm done. You'll have to re-elect me to find out more.
Thank you, and thank you for being respectful of the time. Ms. Wenzel.
Okay, good evening. Maybe we all need to get up to a little stretch. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the organizers. It's just really an honor to see all the work that goes into hosting these events. So I'm Mary Renzel. I'm a neurologist at Cleveland Clinic, and I think as a doc, we get really good at listening. We have these really special moments with our patients in the exam rooms where we listen intently to find what's really important to them, what is meaningful to them. And then we work as a community to build and care for the community. So I'm here to say thank you to everybody here at the table because I can walk right to the South Russell Park with my dog Leo, and I enjoy that so much. And honestly, that is why I want to run, because I'm grateful to live here. My husband is here, and we've raised our 4 kids here for 26 years in South Russell. I've also volunteered as a Girl Scout leader for 3 of the girls, got them through high school, and Sugar Falls Education Foundation, and I volunteer for nonprofit at state levels and national levels with advocating for my patients that live with neurologic diseases. And so I've been government adjacent, I've been to Columbus advocating for my patients, and we see the power of sharing a story, what our patients actually go through day to day. And I like to do that with our residents, as I've had some time to meet more South Russell residents and hear the challenges. And I feel like, you know, right now that the focus should be on safety and security in the community. And I agree that the walking safely is really important. Like I said, our neighborhood's really lucky. We can get right to the path, but not everybody can. I see little kids zipping up and down Bell. It's a concern for sure. And I don't want to be part of something that we have the option to make it safer for families and for all ages, for our elderly to stay safe as well and stay active. And then also the EMS, the ambulance services, who's had to call EMS to their own home, and it's the best thing when you hear that and see those sirens coming, you know they're close to help your family member. So just doing quality care for our residents. Everything's more expensive. We have to be careful that we're doing the best thing and get the best services. And property taxes, like it's already been raised. Columbus is pushing these out into small towns. We have to stay aware and again advocate and legislate for our own residents. So I'd be honored to serve. Please remember me on Election Day, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. We received several questions, and the first one is on water management. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Alexander. Please discuss the causes of rainwater flooding in the village, and what would your plans be to prevent future flooding?
Hi, so when I've been speaking with residents, it's clear that this has been an ongoing issue for some time now. The village continues to expand, and there have been a lot of great developments going on, and I think the location and the building plan of those developments have caused some various storm water issues. I think that council can work together to build a resiliency plan to more proactively manage that, which can be costly, but I think there are ways that we can look to fund that and be able to more proactively manage that in the future.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. And we have an excited, crowded table there, so feel free, candidates, to move the microphone closer to you so we can hear your answer. Mr. Bell, same question to you, and I'm happy to repeat it if you need me to.
Can you repeat it?
Sure. Please discuss the causes of rainwater flooding in the village, and what would be your plans to prevent future flooding?
Sure. I think a lot of the causes are an aging infrastructure. Not all the houses in South Russell are new. Some are 50 plus years old, some are 100 years old, or close to. Undersized culvert pipes that have been being replaced. And also some roadside ditches that need to be cleaned out, which they have been. And there are also ditches that have filled in over the years behind neighborhoods. For example, behind Chagrin Lakes, between that and Wembley, on Shearbrook, there was an old ditch that got filled in over time. Luckily, Geauga Soil and Water, I believe they remedied that recently, because it is in Bainbridge Township, not South Russell. But hopefully that'll help the residents of Shearbrook moving forward.
Thank you. Ms. Kavanaugh.
It's interesting. South Russell had 127 people in 1923. There's 4,000 there now. Also, South Russell has been built to capacity for the most part, unless families have extra acreage to give up with individual homes. There's not room for any more subdivisions. So with the water problems, I tend to agree with Chris. You have culverts that don't match. So you might have a 12-inch coming into a 6-inch and that sort of thing. And our streets, fellas, and including the state of Ohio, they've been trying to remedy this, and it's just a problem. There's more water, there's more pavement. So we have as Mark mentioned, the Central Retention Basin and the Manor project, and we continue with that. I'm very proud of what we're doing, and we have individual people that have been, just like Chris was years ago, set with that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Glecki.
Hindsight's always 20/20. And to Ruth's point, if you would have taken a picture of South Russell Village 100 years ago, you would see a very distinctly different community than what it is today in that short 100 years. Big Bell Road was still a dirt road. When South Russell was developed, unfortunately, in my opinion, it was developed stovepipe fashion. In other words, every development was looked at as a single entity. There was no strategic plan to take a look at, what the effect of building out a community would have on the adjacent land. And for the longest time, as we developed, there was open fields, former farmland that could absorb the rainwater runoff. Okay? Now, the current council has been faced with a situation where, unfortunately, the situation that we are faced with is more hard surfaces, very little remaining open land to absorb that stormwater runoff.
Mr. Glicky, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Porter, same question to you.
Sure. Stormwater mitigation is an ongoing effort in the village the last 10 years and needs to continue. The Fairview Hazelwood project is the next one. The one after that should be the Manor Brook Phase 2 project, which is south of Manor Brook Drive. I would like to see that done as well. Probably the best move on stormwater management we made was unintentional in that we bought the Muggleton Farm, which preserved that enormous amount of space for absorption of water. And from my point of view, that was just a secondary benefit at the time. It has become a primary one now. My program or my desire, my efforts on council will be to continue this, because it isn't just Fairview, it's the next street over, and then the next street over from that. Because the older sections of the village with piping wasn't built to our today's standard. They were built for 1950s, in the case of Chagrin Highlands, as it was called, and for the 60s as they went to the west. So continue the progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Retzel.
Okay, I don't have too much to add after all that. Those experts, but I will say personally, we lived on Chelsea Court, and we also had been through our home. Personally, we had to change our own pipes. The county had been out to change some pipes under the center of the road. The council has worked hard on redoing things within Chelsea Court. We see the new construction changing a lot of the water flow. So it happens for a lot of reasons, climate change, new construction, old, so it's an ongoing thing we have to keep maintenance on.
Thank you. I'm going to, start with you, Mr. Bell. This question, one candidate describes South Russell as semi-rural. Do you think that's an accurate depiction? Why or why not? And is this important?
Yes, I believe that's an accurate depiction of South Russell as a semi-rural. I sometimes joke with my friends, I work on the west side, closer to the airport, that we live on the gateway between suburbia and the country. And I think that's very true, because to the east you have Chagrin Falls, a quaint little suburban village, and to the west. And to the east you have rural Newberry. So I can drive 5 minutes east, and I'm in suburban Chagrin Falls, in the bustling village, or to the west, I keep my directions this time. Or I can do 5 minutes to the east, and I'm out there with cows and horses, which I love. So it's a wonderful place to be, to have that mix of both, quite honestly. And that's what gives the charm to South Russell. You can have the best of both worlds.
Thank you. Ms. Kavanaugh, same question to you, and if you need me to repeat it.
Semi-rural is a good description, and if my poor dad came back to life, he wouldn't like that description at all, but it is what it is. We're very lucky with a crossroads between 306 and Bell Road, and to have our school system just like the folks here have Kenston. We're very lucky. Pretty much everybody has at least an acre. They definitely have an acre of property, except of course there's condos now that weren't there in the old days. And we're pretty much built out. For our population to get any larger than it is would be a very big surprise. So there's good. You have ways to move. When I drive where it's very densely populated, I can't wait to come back home.
Thank you. Mr. Glicky.
I think I'm that candidate that described the community as semi-rural, but Chris Bell said it very well. You know, to the east, you have a very rural flavor and agricultural. To the west, it's more suburban. We're kind of in the middle. So I don't think suburbia necessarily describes us completely, and definitely agricultural farmland doesn't describe us, but we're at that transition point. So.
Thank you. Mr. Porter.
Semi-rural is accurate. My wife and I moved here in year 2000. We did so because South Russell embodied Geauga taxes and Chagrin schools. And that's the bridge that makes semi-rural accurate. And as far as we're concerned, I mean, I've been all over the world, and I wouldn't live anywhere else willingly. I prefer where I am because it's a beautiful place, and I am proud to serve it. And as far as what we can do to maintain that, zoning is certainly part of it. And I think to Ruth's point, you know, we're at 4,000 people. I don't see us getting any bigger. What we do see is older houses from the 50s being bought and torn down and being replaced by much larger structures. But if we're going to do that, and we are apparently, then we need to manage the stormwater. And we're trying to keep the taxes low so the burden's not on the seniors and the new families. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Renzel.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that description. I love that. I'm riding my bike. I can go see cows one way and go into Chagrin the other way. And we appreciate with our kids, and we love having, you know, a lawn that the kids can run around on. And I agree that there's a balance, and I think, you know, the former leaders of our council, et cetera, have been very purposeful in that balance between industry and our residents' needs, and I think keeping that in mind is vital.
Thank you. Ms. Alexander.
I think semi-rural is a great way to describe South Russell. I grew up in a very rural community in a small town in Vermont where there are 3 covered bridges up the street from my house. And so I grew up in a very rural community. It's wonderful to have that semi-rural environment because we are so close, you know, in between farmland and downtown Chagrin Falls. So yeah, I think that's a very good description.
Okay, thank you. I don't know about you, audience, but I count 6 out of 6. Final answer, semi-rural. Okay, next question, and Ms. Kavanaugh, I'm going to start with you. Would it be important for prospective council members to attend budget work sessions, and why?
An emphatic yes. I was not strong on budget when I started in 1995, and I'm embarrassed to say that today because that's your framework, as everybody knows that's involved in any form of local government. That's your framework by which you're going to be able to get projects done.
Thank you. Mr. Glicky.
Absolutely. You know, it's important to be engaged as much as possible if you're seeking public office. You know, but the foundational question for government is no budget, no project, no standing. So you have to know what the priorities are of the government as we face the new year, and also the limitations that we have. We'd love to buy everything, but we also have to restrict and prioritize. So it's a great process that we go through each year.
Thank you. Mr. Porter.
Sure. We had a budget work session last Monday, and it was quite illuminating about what we're going to be able to do with the funds we have without raising taxes. And for the record, that's I think my 19th or 20th budget meeting, and for the last 20-some years, and I'm sure it extends into the 90s when Ruth was first on council, we have been very, very careful with the taxpayers' money. We ensure we have the funds available and we don't overspend. And that's always because we keep an eye on the checkbook and we never take our eyes off of it. So everything we do is based on what does it do to serve the residents, what does it cost, what is the long-term ramifications of doing this. So in that sense, we are pretty much on the same page here in council, whoever's on council, because we're careful with the taxpayers' money. We don't overspend, and I don't think we ever will. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Renzel.
Yeah, fiscal responsibility is key. We need to, you know, keep the community safe, and I'm glad to have that experience running clinical trials and writing grants myself, so we've always been very budget conscious in healthcare. We never seem to have any extra money in healthcare, unfortunately. And as a business founder for 6 years, I've been running my own small business, so I have experience with budgeting as well.
Thank you. Ms. Alexander?
Hey, would you repeat the question?
Sure. Would it be important for prospective council members to attend budget work sessions and why? Or why not?
I think it's important for council members to attend as many budget sessions as possible. I think that in government, you can really see where your values are by how you're spending your money. And I think you need to have fiscal responsibility while also understanding where we can invest wisely for the future. And that involves making sure that we're connected in those regular budget discussions and also stay strongly connected with the community to understand what the priorities are of the community and also seek opportunities of how we can enhance the community and use our funds wisely.
Thank you. Mr. Beck?
Yes, I'll agree with everything everyone said. That's it. No. Yes, I think it's important, and it's a wonderful opportunity for prospective candidates for council to be in the room when those discussions are taking place. I am aware enough to recognize that I may not be on council come January. So if I'm not, I want to have people who are in the know and know all the facts, participating in our government, and representing me, because it's still my community. So, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Russell Village Council candidates, for being with us tonight and for answering questions from your constituents or potential constituents. On election day, you're voting to choose from 4 of these 6 individuals. Thank you. As they are exiting the stage, I would like to welcome to the stage the candidates for the Kenston Local School District Board of Education. Voters will be selecting 3 of these 6 candidates: Dennis Bergansky, Mabel Kopp, Beth Kraus, Gertha Smith, Benjamin Timmons, and Jennifer Troutman. Just a little traffic jam at the stairwell, so give them a second to get up here. And Mr. Bergansky, I'm going to start with you, so if you want to make your way over here and else is coming to the stage, I'd appreciate it. Dennis Bergansky.
Hello, thank you for everybody that's putting this on, the League of Women Voters, Kenston High School, Kenston Schools. A little bit about myself. I'm a 1985 graduate of Bedford High School. I attended Akron University and Cuyahoga Community College. Growing up, I worked as a landscaper. I worked for a contractor, then a local excavator out here in Auburn Township. It's probably where I really started loving the community. In 1993, I graduated from the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy. January of '94, I was sworn in as a Bedford police officer. Spent 5 years in patrol, 16 years as a detective. I was a juvenile liaison officer prior to having SROs, and then 5 years as a patrol sergeant. We work with a multi-jurisdictional task force called Southeast Area Law Enforcement, which is SEAL. With that, I worked with narcotics and spent 16 years as a member of the SWAT team, and I was a sniper team leader when I finished up. Also a member of the Geauga County Planning Commission and Auburn Zoning Commission. Prior to my retirement, I did get my real estate license in 2016, so I've been a licensed realtor. My community service, I've always strived to serve the community. When my kids were born, I started coaching in like 2006. I have coached every sport from t-ball, softball, baseball, youth football, basketball, travel, rec, soccer, and youth lacrosse. So I'm very dedicated to helping kids, helping the community, and being involved. I'm a very open person. For those that know me, you're not going to hear any arguments. I don't beat around the bush too much. I do have 2 children. I graduated from Kenston in 21 and 23. And although my children are grown, I still feel I have an obligation to the community. You don't have to have kids in the district to be involved in the district, because I am still a taxpayer and there's more people that pay taxes in this district that don't have kids than do. So it's very important to stay involved, and everybody has an interest in the schools. So the last 3.5 years being on the board has been a pretty unique experience. I'm in a hurry because I see my ticker going down, but I am dedicated to make Kenston the best it can be, continue to move it forward, and make it one of the best schools in the state of Ohio. Things that are very, very important to me is honesty, integrity, transparency, which we can't always be because a lot of stuff is done in executive session. Not a huge fan, but it is what it is. And we need to prepare our students for the future. I don't like when they go, oh, 99% of our kids are going to college. I want to know, what are those kids doing 8 years, 10 years, 15 years after school? Are they successful? Did college work for them? And that is my goal, is to make these kids ready for careers, ready for college, employment, military, whatever it may be. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see Mabel. Okay, no problem. Ms. Cross, we will invite you to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Beth Krause, and I am here to ask for your vote. But first, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for organizing this event. It's a great opportunity. And I would like to thank Kenston for hosting as a board member. I love it when we have the opportunity to invite the community onto campus so that you can see the great things that are happening here at Kenston. Tonight, I'd like to tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm running for re-election. My husband and I moved to Bainbridge in 1994. We have three children who are all Kenston graduates. It was when our children were young and I was involved as a parent at Kenston that I first became interested in running for the school board and was first elected. And it has been my honor and pleasure to serve as a board member for the past 16 years. Professionally, I'm a pharmacist. I've spent the past 15 years of my career in a leadership role, and I'm currently the Director of Pharmacy for University Hospital's Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital. In this capacity, I manage a multi-million-dollar budget. I am responsible for strategic planning and personnel management. I oversee the managers who are responsible for the day-to-day operations of our department. I believe that these skills also serve me well in my role as a board member, understanding the finances of our district and being fiscally responsible, thinking strategically and planning for the future, and providing leadership without micromanaging the day-to-day operations. So why am I running again, and why should you vote for me? I am running again because I believe that I can still make a positive contribution to our community as a school board member. You should vote for me because I have a good track record with fiscal responsibility, with few tax increases since I was first elected, and a positive financial outlook today. I have served on the curriculum committee with Dr. Pope for many of my years on the board, and I am proud of how our district meets the needs of our students and helps them achieve their full potential. I have helped our district navigate challenges. I help to build positive relationships between the district and our community. I am fair, open-minded, and a good listener. I am analytical and unbiased. I am collaborative, supportive, and positive. I believe that these attributes, combined with my experience on the board, make me a top candidate. I know that I can contribute to the continued excellence of the Kenston School District, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Krause. Ms. Smith.
Hi, I am Bertha Smith. I am a graduate from Kenston High School. My parents graduated from Kenston High School, and I also have a 20-year-old who's in her third year of college who's thriving at the University of Cincinnati, who is also a graduate from Kenston High School. I have an 11th grader, a freshman, and a first grader. Do not ask any questions. I have a degree in social work. I started out at the University of Toledo, and I finished up at Ursuline College, and I am a parole officer. Not only do I work with individuals who've been released from prison, but I also work in the prisons providing services for that closed setting I am also a victims advocate. I am also a crisis training intervention specialist. I am on the Sugar and Falls Park Advisory Board. I am also on, I am the current second vice president of NOBLE, National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, and I'm preparing to serve my second term there. I am a mother of 4 children. Why should you vote for me, and what can I bring to the board? I can bring something that we probably never had before, a complete totality view of what our community does look like and how we should be representing ourselves. I can bring ideas, and we can expand and have difficult conversations and be open-minded to new suggestions on how we should be better and bridge gaps, and how we can be voices for those kids who are unheard, how we can be voices for the educators who are unheard, and how we can be and stand between and hold and be with our superintendent and our treasurer while we are being transparent as possible and getting the information to our community. I'm big on community. I am, as you know, I'm an advocate for the community. And I want to work on also like just being and giving new opportunities. And if I stand here and putting myself out there and being present, then other young women, young parents who have students in the district, and people who may not have a place to fit in can have the encouragement and the ability to begin to run and do something different that's never been done. And this could be a new challenge for us, this could be a new change for us, and this would be something awesome for our district. A new representation of a totality of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. Timmons.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight. I'd like to thank Kenson for having us here. Move this over here a little bit. And I'd like to thank everyone attending tonight. Thank you for taking the time to come visit with us and learn a little bit about us, and hopefully make you a decision on November 4th. So, a little bit about me. My name is Ben Timmons. I grew up here. I'm from here. My parents are from here. My grandparents are from here. Lived here for the majority of my life. I graduated from Kenson in 1999. While I was here at Kenson, I was honored enough to earn an athletic scholarship to West Virginia University. There, I met my beautiful wife, and when after we got married, we decided to start having children. We needed to move back to Kenson. It was just a decision we needed to have, so we moved back to Kenson. Now, I'm a proud father of 4, raising our children here in the same district that helped shape me. If you ask me why is this important, it's important to me because as a father of 4, I know firsthand of the importance of the decisions that are made and how they directly affect every child that walks through the classroom door. I have children in every building. I hear every day when they come home some of the challenges they've had with, hey, we need to go to the playground today, or we didn't get to do this because of other situations. So I hear it every day. I believe our schools are the heart of this community. I've seen how our teachers go above and beyond, and how our families step up to help support each other, and how proud I am to say we fly together as bombers. But I also know there are challenges that our school is facing, and it's important to have leaders who will listen, who will put students first, and who will work hard to keep our district strong. I'm running because I believe we can continue to build on the traditions that Kenson has made strong. And while we also are preparing our students for the future. Together, we can make our schools strong, not only provide a great education today, but also prepare for our students for tomorrow. This district is my home. It's where I grew up, it's where I'm raising my children, it's where I plan to stay. I care deeply about the success, and I will work every day to make sure the school remains strong. Thank you, and I ask for your support on November 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Timmons. Ms. Troutman.
Good evening. Welcome to Kenston High School. Thank you to League of Women Voters, Kenston NHS students, and all of you for attending tonight. My name is Jennifer Troutman, and I am seeking re-election to the Kenston Board of Education. I'm currently in my 4th year as a school board member, and I've had the honor of serving as both vice president and president. I'm also on curriculum committees. I've served as legislation liaison for several years. I've coached the high school Montreal team for 9 years, and I'm in my second year on the Bainbridge Zoning Commission. My professional career, I've worked full-time as an attorney, and I've been practicing law for 26 years. All 3 of my children have graduated from Kenston, and they went K through 12. My oldest graduated in 2020, Dominic graduated in 22, and Sophia most recently in 2024. Safety, communication, and academic excellence are my top 3 priorities. 4 years ago, I ran on a campaign of financing because we were in dire straits 4 years ago. But through our leadership, through very hard work, through our administration and the board, we have turned that ship around and we are on a great financial path. But we need strong leaders to continue that path forward. It's not a one and done. So we've closed a building, we eliminated an administrator, we offered an early retirement incentive. So now what? What's the next step? As far as communication goes, I want to highlight that for just a second because we did have some communication issues at the beginning of the school year, and I don't want to gloss over that. Communication is a two-way street. Board members are liaisons between the community and administration. I feel that I have a very strong connection to the community, and I bring back ideas to our leadership in the district, and a lot of those things have produced change in the district. So I'd like to continue that on in the next 4 years. But I think the main question you all have is, why should you vote for me? So I'm going to tell you why. Public schools belong to the entire community, not just families who currently have students enrolled. Every single taxpayer, resident, and business owner in Bainbridge and Auburn townships have a stake in the success of our school district. A strong school district creates a strong community. While I may not have children in the district any longer, I bring experience, perspective, and skills that are essential to good governance, making sound financial decisions, setting long-term priorities, and ensuring the success of every single student, every child. I will help find a path no matter what that is. So no matter if you are a bomber forever or you became a bomber for the first time in August of 2025, your success in this district is my priority. Thank you, and I hope I get your vote on November 4th.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. We received a good number of questions, so our screeners have put things together and given us the top asked questions. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Verdansky. The question is, 3 school districts in Geauga County have joined the lawsuit Vouchers Hurt Ohio against the state of Ohio's funding of private schools via vouchers. The private voucher system has been deemed unconstitutional. Would you be in favor of the Kenston School District supporting the lawsuit against the use of public funds for private schools? Why or why not?
I think when it comes to the vouchers, I'm not a big fan of them, but one of the questions I think in a public school we have to ask ourselves is, why are people in a big hurry to pull their kids out of the public schools? Where are they failing? And why do they want to go to other schools? So I'm not a huge fan of vouchers, but sometimes you hear from certain people that why they want to pull their kids out, and I think those problems need to be addressed. You know, there's certain things that are out of our hands, and the taxpayers and the people down in Columbus make certain rules. It's just like the tax issue. But one thing, if we do a better job in the public schools, I don't think we're going to have these problems with people pulling them out and wanting vouchers to go to other schools. So we have to look at where are we failing that everybody wants to pull out. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big fan of paying a voucher for somebody else to go to another school, but hopefully it doesn't become an issue.
Thank you. Ms. Krause.
So the question was, do we join the lawsuit, yes or no?
Yes. Would you support Kenston School District, or would you be in favor of Kenston School District supporting the lawsuit against use of public funds for private schools? Why or why not?
Right, so that's a good question. I've had a lot of conversations with the administration about this over the years. It's a valid lawsuit, it's an important lawsuit. Kenston is going at this in other ways. We're in the, oh my gosh, I can't remember the names of all these organizations, but a high-quality education organization who's also doing work on this. So we haven't joined it yet. We may join it in the future. It's not the only game in town. We're doing other things in addition to what's happening with that lawsuit. So my answer is me.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Krause. Ms. Smith.
So, yes, I think that it is important to do the research on like the lawsuits and how will it benefit the district. And I guess I would be more of a maybe too. And again, it's about why are they leaving our district? Where's the data? Why are they leaving? And what can we do to become better to give those individuals the needs here at Kenston Local Schools? And if we're missing something, we need to be working on that to keep the public funding in our public schools. But each person has the ability to leave and move to a district that fits their needs. So we just have to become better as a district to keep their people here with our district.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. Timmons.
Without knowing all the details of exactly what the lawsuit is, it's hard to say yes or no, but overall, I'm in favor of the public funds staying with the public schools. Kenston has always had a mix of students attending private schools. If that's the route you want to go, fantastic, but the public funds need to stay with the public schools.
Thank you. Ms. Troutman.
So sometimes joining a lawsuit isn't always in your best interest, and jumping on a bandwagon with everybody else isn't necessarily putting your district in the best position going forward. So I think right now Kenston is right to kind of hang back and not join this lawsuit. I think that I do not support our tax dollars following a student going to a private school district. We need to keep our students in our district and find out why they're leaving. But to address the specific question, I think right now, no, we should not be joining this lawsuit. We can always reevaluate that situation at a later date. But at this moment, I think we are positioning ourselves in the best light, given the facts that we have.
Thank you, Ms. Troutman. Ms. Krause, I'm going to start with you. The next question is, at recent board meetings, parents have expressed concerns with the district's handling of transportation, dress code, and dismissal policy. How would you improve communication between Kenston and parents on issues?
So communication, thanks for starting with me. Communication is challenging no matter what organization that you are a part of. So we will be challenged with communication always. Does that mean we can't improve? Of course not. We use email communications, we use social media communications, we use phone communications, but we're missing something, right? If we're sending out all of those communications, but the word is not getting out, there's something more that we can do, there's something that we're missing. So we have people in the district in charge of communications. This is definitely a topic of conversation. I have conversations with them. What more can we do? They look at that always. We need to hit the mark. It's a difficult mark to hit. Feedback from the community is really important. Are we getting it right? Did we still miss the mark? And we'll continue to improve.
Thank you, Ms. Krause. Ms. Smith.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. At recent board meetings, parents have expressed concerns with the district's handling of transportation, dress code, and dismissal policies. How would you improve communication between Kenston and parents on issues?
Yes, so I've attended a couple of those meetings, and they are interesting. And as being a parent, there is something missing, right? And what is it that's missing? Are we missing emails? Are we not getting enough emails? Are we getting too many emails? Are we just not having these conversations and being very open and very transparent? What are we missing? So I think communication is hard to work on, but I think it's possible. And I think that one of the things that we need to do is we have to just be clear and concise. And when people hear clear facts and solutions, then they're listening and they're hearing you, but also you have to hear the community, and how do we take that information back to listen and be like transparent and productive. But I also believe like it's a lot of work that needs to be done with communication, and it can be done.
Thank you. Mr. Timmons.
Yeah, so on the transportation front, the communication, that was definitely a challenge. Been there, lived it, didn't know when kids were getting picked up, didn't know when kids were getting dropped off. The communication part, when you reach out, there's somewhat of a challenge to get the information you're looking for, and when your child is not where it's supposed to be, you don't know where it's at, time is of the essence. So fixing that is definitely paramount because it relates to child safety. Communication-wise, we did hear parents when they would call into the transportation or school or wherever, they couldn't get the right information or accurate information of where their child was, and that caused definitely some stir. So with all the additional communication available to us, I think there's definitely some improvements we can make. But like we've all said, it's got to be that right mark of not too much, not too little, but just accurate, timely information.
Thank you. Ms. Trotman.
So I think I'm in the camp of over-communication can never steer you wrong. But I also believe in proactive communication versus reactive communication. So the more you can communicate ahead of an issue versus responding to the issue, you're always going to put yourself in the best possible position that you can. But we also have to acknowledge when we don't communicate properly or we've missed the mark. And I think we've done that. I mean, our administrators, they worked hard and they acknowledged that there was some failures on the communication end with transportation, and they took responsibility for it, which is what we absolutely need to be doing when we don't do something to the standards that we've set for Kenston. So we take responsibility and then we find the fix for it and how do we do it better, and we're going to do it better, and that's what's happening now. There needs to be immediate follow-up. I work in a world where it's 24 hours you have to respond to an email or a phone call. I abide by that 24 hours. I think every professional should do 24 hours, and that would be my expectation for our professionals here.
Thank you. Mr. Berdianski.
So, yeah, a lot of issues with transportation this year in the communication. I will say this right now, with Dr. Willingham as our superintendent, I have noticed communication has gotten a lot better. He tries to jump on it right away. We're working on it. The communication, sometimes people are calling the individual schools, the individual principals, and if they try to handle it themselves, it might fall behind. Even with transportation, I know our transportation director has been driving a bus because filling in for lack of bus drivers. So instead of her being in her office and actually handling the complaints and the routes, she's out there driving a bus. So we're trying to work on that. There's a shortage of bus drivers everywhere, so we're trying to work on that. But I will say the communication, Dr. Willingham, when he sends communications back, he copies us, and he's getting back with the people. And I tell people, if you have an issue, send something to him directly, because he's really good at addressing things. So.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, what would you say is the single biggest issue facing the Kenston local school district, and what would your proposed solution be? No problem. What would you say is the biggest issue facing the Kenston local school district over the next 4 years, and what would be your proposed solution to this issue?
So I do not have all the answers. However, I think that we're going to face some difficult times as far as our, like we did pass a levy, but we will face times of like what our students need, and when we're having issues along with the private funding and things of the sort. I think right now what the community wants right now is communication, and they want transportation to be dealt with, and the things that we have to deal with now versus what I can predict in the next 4 years. So I think that we just take everything that we have and we deal with it accordingly, properly, and we move forward to continue to be great in a good district. But we will continue to have racism issues, we will continue to have other type of issues that we need to address. But again, we have to be proactive, like she said, versus reactive, and we just got to stay on our toes and make sure we're prepared for what is to come.
Thank you. Mr. Timmons, same question. What is the biggest issue, in your opinion, facing the Kenston local school district, and what would be your proposed plan or solution to address it?
So number one for me is always child safety. Make sure the child knows that they can come to school. It is a safe environment. They can learn, they can grow, they can do all those type of things. The next biggest thing I see is funding. If the property tax bill comes through or reduces the funding to the school district, that will be very impactful for the school to figure out how they're going to raise funds. It's not, we cannot just reduce that funding and figure it out. It's going to have to come from somewhere. So planning, figuring that out, and coming up with some solutions for the potential impact of that is the biggest thing I see.
Thank you. Ms. Troutman.
So I'm looking like 5-6 years down the road. Our facilities continue to be a major issue in this district, and with the new building that's gone on at the far end of Bainbridge bordering Aurora, and the influx of students that this district can potentially see, we've closed a building, we've moved grades, where are we going to put additional students? And so we have to look at what are we doing with the middle school. We've closed the intermediate school. That all ties into funding, it ties into levies, it ties into bonds falling off. And so we need to strategically think 5-6 years down the road, what are we doing with our facilities? We need to start doing that now, because if we wait until we're at capacity or we're over capacity, we're going to be in a situation where we don't have any place to put children. So we have to start proactively thinking about what's going to come down the pike in the next couple years, and how are we going to address those issues.
Thank you. Mr. Burbinsky.
I'm going to kind of go along with what Jen said. One of our big concerns we're looking for always is financing with the schools. But with the project over there by the Geauga Lake area, we don't know where it's going to take us with the amount of kids that will bring into the district. The whole thing of closing the intermediate school, and right now the middle school is, everybody's, it's kind of on its way out. So we got to look at building a school. How big do we build it? We don't know how many kids are going to come into this new development. And that's going to be a very big situation that we got to try to figure out. The finance, I will say this, right now we currently, before I got on the board, we were going to run out of money like 4 years ago, and somehow different treasurer or different leadership have actually extended the funds. So we're doing a great job. I'll give you an example. We found we had like 18 extra buses. Why were we paying insurance on 18 extra buses? We don't need 18 spare buses. So stuff like that, we've cut and cut and cut, but we're kind of done cutting. You can only cut so much without affecting the education. Geauga Lake's going to be a very unique thing, and unfortunately it's an unknown right now. But the finance on that's going to be the issue.
Thank you. Ms. Krause.
So I believe that the biggest issue facing public education is funding. I mean, nobody likes to talk about money, but if you don't have money, you can't keep your kids safe, you can't transport them to school, you can't afford teachers for the value-added things that we provide at Kenston. New buildings are out of the question. If the state of Ohio doesn't figure out how we're going to fund public education, everything else is just conversational. School funding is a big deal.
Thank you. We had so many great questions, which unfortunately we don't have time to get to. I'm hoping that you would be willing to stay after. And if we didn't get to your question, please seek out the answer directly. Thank you so much for being here. Voters will be deciding on 3 of the 6 candidates listed on this slide. Our next issue is a levy, Bainbridge Township Tax Levy. It's a 2 mil renewal for streets, roads, and bridges, collecting $835,000, $134 annually, amounting to $29 for each $100,000. It's for 5 years, commencing in 2026 and first due in 2027. And I believe we have Alex Hansel here to speak to the levy.
Good evening. Thank you to the League for the opportunity to speak about our renewal levy, and thank everyone for being here. My name is Alex Hansel. I'm the Assistant Service Director of Bainbridge Township. Our renewal levy is a 2 mil levy that will not increase your taxes. The Service Department's budget is very sensitive to rising construction costs each year. Our department is responsible for 85 miles of roadway. This past winter was especially severe. With more frequent flooding events, the Service Department has taken on several unplanned and costly repair projects just this year, including extensive frost heaving on Snyder and Stafford roads, multiple sinkholes, cross pipe failures, including one large-scale pipe failure requiring engineer design by the county and work performed by outside contractors. Again, passing this renewal levy will not raise your taxes, but it is crucial in our ability to react to these unplanned projects while still performing routine maintenance and planned road resurfacing projects that our community depends on. On behalf of the Service Department and Bainbridge Township, I thank you for your continued support.
We have one question from the audience. What projects would be postponed or cut if the levy doesn't pass?
So this levy represents roughly a third of our budget, and if this levy was to fail, there would be significant reduction in services. Likely road resurfacing projects, we would kind of scale back and be in more of a survival mode, doing repairs in-house as much as possible, but it would be a great impact to our department.
Thank you. And our last race and issue of the evening is our Bainbridge Township Trustee race. You are choosing 2 of the 3 candidates, choosing between Michael Bates, Matthew DeMonkis, and Jeff Markley. And I will invite Mr. Bates to the podium whenever you are settled. Thank you. Yep.
Good evening. First of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters and to the Kenston Schools for hosting this. I was also asked to convey the regrets of Mr. Markley, who cannot be here. He got caught up in some transportation issues trying to get here. So Kenston has transportation issues, and so does our airline system. I'm Michael Bates. My education background, in 1988, I received my Bachelor of Arts. 1991, Master of Divinity. In 1997, my Master's of Education, and then in 2009, a Doctor of Education. I'm asking for your support to re-elect me to the Bainbridge Board of Trustees. I've been a 29-year teacher here at Kenston and a 4-year member of the Board of Trustees. When I was first elected to the board, a wise person gave me some advice. She said, "Your first term is for listening." So I took that advice. I've listened as a plow truck driver explained to me in technical detail how his plow truck works and spoke of his service to Bainbridge residents as if it were the most important job in the world. And for him and the residents who get to drive on safe, clear streets in the winter, it probably is. I've listened to our fire and EMS workers describe how fulfilling it is to serve residents in their time of greatest need and the disappointment and helplessness they felt when they were unable to save someone despite their heroic efforts. I've listened to police officers describe how gratifying it is to serve this community and the incredible amount of support they feel from our residents. I've listened to our zoning inspector and assistant zoning inspector as they've taught me about the complexities of zoning, appreciating their patience with me as I've asked questions that may seem simple to them, but were far from simple to me. Most importantly, I've listened to residents as they've expressed their issues, asking for help and support to solve problems in their neighborhoods and homes, and tried to offer suggestions and support where possible. My role as a listener these past 4 years has led me to make measured decisions, and listening to multiple perspectives on the issues, I have made these decisions based on one overriding factor: what is the best decision for the residents of Bainbridge Township? And while some may not have agreed with a particular vote, I am confident that I have understood all sides of an issue to inform my own decision. I'm not one to desire to be the center of attention, but I have spoken up where necessary, challenged my colleagues and the board where appropriate, and always in a spirit of cooperation and collegiality. Over the next 4 years, I plan to continue to do a lot of listening, and I hope that over the next 4 years, I'll be able to work to help make Bainbridge even better. I do not have any grand plans for future action, but know that as problems come up and issues confront our township and its residents, I'm capable of researching, debating, and making decisions that will benefit all of us. Again, I'm Michael Bates, and I am asking for your support this November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. Mr. Demontis.
Sure, everybody's about done with speeches, so I'll make it short and sweet. Good evening, my name is Matt Demontis, and I'm proud to be a candidate for Bainbridge Township trustee. For more than 30 years, public service has been the center of my life. I began my career as a firefighter and paramedic, and through hard work, I rose through the ranks to lieutenant and then assistant fire chief. I also served as a SWAT paramedic on a regional team and was honored to represent my firefighters as union president. As assistant chief, I've gained valuable experience that directly applies to the trustee's office, working on budgets, negotiating union contracts, and managing labor relations. Those responsibilities taught me how to balance fairness with fiscal responsibility and how to make decisions that serve both the people providing the services and the community that relies on them. In addition to public safety, I was a small business owner for over 20 years, starting, owning, and running a pest management business. That work has taught me accountability, efficiency, and the importance of serving people with integrity, principles that I carry with me to be trustee. My wife Janine, who works in our school district, and I have raised our family right here in Bainbridge. The community has given us so much, and that's why I want to give back by helping ensure Bainbridge remains a safe, thriving, and welcoming place for families. As trustees, my priorities will be clear. Keep our township financially sound, ensure open and transparent government, and protect the quality of life that makes Bainbridge such a great place to call home. My background in emergency services means I know how to lead under pressure. My experience with budgets and labor relations means I understand the financial and organizational responsibilities of local government. And my life here with Janine and our family means I'm personally invested in Bainbridge's long-term success. I'd be honored to earn your trust, your support, and your vote for Bainbridge Township trustee. Together we can continue to make Bainbridge a community we're all proud to call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bates, I'm going to start with you. What is your opinion of the Geauga Lake apartment project? How will it impact Bainbridge Township and Kenston schools?
I know that, don't start the clock yet. Technical issues here. I know that the apartments in Geauga Lake have been a source of disagreement among many people. I think that the township itself did not have a whole lot of power in who would buy that property, and so it comes down to property rights. And so our role as trustees is to oversee what's going on, to make sure that the builder and the developer are meeting their agreements and their responsibilities. As far as how it will affect Bainbridge, it's the only apartment complex of its kind in Geauga County, and it will bring new residents, new tax dollars, and hopefully will end up having a positive impact on our community.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. Mr. Demontis, same question to you.
Thank you. The one thing I won't do is criticize anything that was done in the past. I don't think that's fair to anybody that's been in office. I'm sure they did everything they could and felt was within the best interest of the township. There's still so many uncertainties with that property. The best we can do is keep doing research and do the best and try and get the most revenue out of that property as we can.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to you for this one, Mr. Demontis. And I'm sorry about the feedback. I don't know if it's me or what the issue is. Solon and Aurora have been actively investing in the development of the Headwaters Connector Trail, a 7-mile multi-county greenway that would connect the Aurora Trail to Solon's Emerald Necklace Trail via a former Norfolk Southern Railway corridor with many engaged partners. Bainbridge Township has been absent from the collaborative efforts. If elected, would you support Bainbridge playing a more proactive role in this regional trail network?
I don't think at this point that we have the finances to compete with the big cities. We're a township. We need to stay a township. It's something we could look into, but with the tax uncertainties, I don't think it would fiscally be the most responsible decision to invest money in that area.
Thank you. Mr. Bates, same question.
Well, I would first of all disagree that we have not collaborated on this project. I know all three trustees have had meetings with the mayor of Solon in particular, and have expressed our support for this project. And as Matt said, the problem comes down to funding. The cities have more flexibility when it comes to their funding. We have tax levies. And when the price tag came out to be several $1 million, it would have been a very difficult ask from our community to be able to provide those kind of funds. We're committed to looking into possible outside funding sources, and I know both Solon and Aurora have expressed their willingness to help that happen, so we'll see what happens over the next several years when it comes to that.
Thank you. Mr. Bates, I'm going to come back to you. What is your position on property tax reform? In the event property taxes are reduced or eliminated, what are your plans for alternative sources of revenue?
I think I heard that question before. I think that most people would agree that property tax reform is necessary. However, what is being suggested is a nuclear option, which the county commissioners and other leaders in the county are concerned about, and the Board of Trustees is concerned about it. I don't know that we have an exact plan for what happens if property taxes are abolished. We're certainly thinking about it, talking about it, and wringing our hands a little bit as far as what might happen. Certainly, we would have to find other sources of revenue, and perhaps ORC would have to change and allow townships to do some more creative things if that happened.
Thank you.
I think Mr. Bates said it's hard at this point with all the uncertainties to have a definitive answer, but to have all the facts and have the ability to work as a board and solve the problem together. And also, along with that, is just maximizing our taxes that we get out of the Jug Lake property.
Okay, thank you. Final question, and Mr. Demarcus, I'm going to start with you. What is, in your opinion, the biggest issue facing Bainbridge Township?
I think we can go back to the same question. The tax uncertainties, it's a big problem. We have rising costs, and this is a huge uncertainty. But again, working together, and this is one thing as a firefighter I was always accused of, that we always find a way to get things done. So we'll work together and get something done. It's until we know more on the situation. Hate to be reactionary to anything, but they're putting us in a spot where we might have to be.
Thank you. Mr. Bates.
I agree with Matt that probably the biggest issue facing us, but it's out of our control, is the funding issue and what happens with property taxes. Obviously, that's something that we can't kick the can down the road, but we really can't do anything until we see what happens. I think other than that, overseeing and managing what is happening at Geauga Lake, making sure that it is an excellent place for people to be able to work, to play, to spend their money, and to come and visit our township is something that's very important. They're just in the beginning phases of building that out. And there are other things to come, and making sure that developers are doing what they're supposed to do, that they're meeting their commitments to us, and that we are then able to support what is going on there as well, so that we have a facility or a district in our township that people enjoy going to and people want to move to. I think it's important for us to address over the next 4 years.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for being here. Bainbridge Township residents will be choosing between two of these three candidates in November. If you want more information about candidates and issues, we encourage you to access Vote 411 or through the League of Women Voters website. And please make sure you make a voting plan to vote on or before November 4th. Thank you all so much for being here, for submitting very thoughtful questions, and for being really engaged citizens. Have a great evening.